Good morning, everybody. Welcome to BizChicks TV. All right, today is Tech Life Weekly, and we got some things for you coming up. Terry is going to be out a little bit. She's taking some rest days, so we'll see her a little bit. She did send me some stories to share, but we're going to go ahead and get started with this day in tech history. And let's see what we got going on over there. Woo! A lot of, ah, here we go. Okay, let's start with Google. Google releases Chrome, which is the browser that we're using right now, December 11th, 2008, releases the first stable public version of their web browser, Chrome. Chrome is considered the third most popular web browser in the world. So I want to know who's number one and two, because I'm not sure. Uh, I don't think a lot of people use the others. And then, hey, welcome to whoever is watching us on Facebook. My next story, the first transatlantic or trans-Pacific telegraph cable, December 14th, 1902, the cable ship Silverton begins laying the first trans-Pacific telegraph cable from San Francisco, destined for Honolulu, Hawaii. After laying 2,227 nautical miles of cable, the Silverton will land in Honolulu on January 1st, 1903. Public messages will begin transmitting on January 5th. So they laid the cable, and 4 days later, they were using the cable to transmit messages. And I think this is one of the first instances of text messaging or telegraph messaging. And they laid the cable. And those cables are still underground to this day, which we're probably using to do what we do now. Good morning. Hey, Carlos. Are you working today? Uh, handling things over there in the lending world, or are you always working? Okay. Work is good though. Work is fun. Let's see, what else do I have over here in this story? Apple's IPO makes Forrest Gump rich. December 12th, 1980, Apple Computer holds their initial public offering, selling 4.6 million shares at $22 a share, and turning more than 40 Apple employees and investors into instant millionaires. With the stock value closing at 29, the market capitalization puts the company's worth at 1.778 billion. Stock held by Steve Jobs is worth 217 million, Steve Wozniak 116 million, Mike Markula 203 million. This was the largest IPO in the US since the Ford Motor Company in 1956. Wow. What would we have done had we gotten that back then? All right, let's see. I have a couple of other things here. Hey, Tejas. Yeah, Dr. Tachi, hold on. I will be over there in just a second. I'm kind of flying the ship by myself, and I will open up the clubhouse in just a second. And Tejas, hold on for a moment. We were talking about that last week, and also on our Tuesday tech talk with our Tuesday media talk with TJ, Terry Johnson, we were talking about that. And so on our YouTube channel, we went way deep into it. We played around with it a little bit as well with Chat GPT. So hold on for just a quick second. Let me grab something. I'm back. Okay. All right. So the next thing we are going to be looking, I'm going to pull up this story that Terry sent me, and then I'm going to answer a couple of questions. Let's see. Terry always has these, what shall I call them? She has all of these human interest stories from different kids. And so we're going to take a look at some BizKids. Open it up in this window over here. And Dr. Tachi, I'll get you in just a quick minute. All right. So let's take a look at some BizKids.
Hi, I'm Monique Coleman, and I love BizKids. I am an actress. Most people know me from a very small movie called High School Musical. But what people may not know about me is that I started an organization called Gimme Mo to empower and inspire young people. And that led to me becoming the first ever United Nations Youth Champion. I am passionate about giving back and volunteering. I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. I learned at a young age that I can find happiness without money. My mom always taught me that money wasn't an obstacle, that even if we didn't have enough money, there were always other avenues to get things. So when it comes to understanding what really makes us happy, I think is having the life that we really want. And money is a part of that, but it isn't all of it. I think giving back is probably something that brings me the most joy. I actually have some money in my pocket right now. Would it be totally crazy for us to have an experiment to just give away some money to see if it makes people happy?
Give away money right now? Let's go.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, so I have like $500.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Can we ask you guys a quick question?
Very simple question today. We're doing a little experiment to find out if money buys happiness.
Does money buy happiness?
No.
No, it doesn't.
You can just have it.
This is real money.
It's real money. Go to, there's a Starbucks. I'm very happy.
Okay.
That was like,
Yeah,
that was ecstatic.
Yes.
You need more than money for happiness.
Oh, yeah.
So money's just energy.
Well, here's some energy.
Oh, wow. That did make me happy. Thank
Okay.
you.
Aren't you from High School Musical? Oh
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
We were raised on your movies, so
Thank you. So if I gave you $20 right now from us to you,
Oh, money does buy happiness.
and how does it make you feel to give to other people?
I feel like that's how we do it.
Oh.
And I'll give some to someone else, too.
Awesome. Another paying it forward.
buys you time so that you can be with people that you love.
I'm with my family.
Family and friends. Happiness is right. It's right
Oh.
here.
Oh,
It's my baby.
We did well. I think we made people happy. I think
Yeah.
we got some refusals.
Money does not buy happiness on its own, but it does help.
It can contribute.
It does make people feel joyful and
Mhm.
delighted. It seems like what people really care about is their family.
Yep.
Giving back makes other people happy.
Feeling loved.
And being able to take care of what they need to take care of.
That's the takeaway from today.
All right. And so that was one of Terralina's stories for today. I thought that was good. Anybody have any feedback on that?
that was a really good story, and it's interesting. And I did not know that about her, that she had an organization that did that. You know, you just see these movies and you see the actors in them, and you don't realize sometimes how multifaceted they are. So that was actually very cool.
All right. Now I'm checking out some tech stuff here. You know, I do not see you, Dr. Tachi, but I hear you.
Because I'm in Clubhouse.
I'm in Clubhouse too. I'm looking and I don't see you. Okay, whatever that means. Hey, Soul of a Man 504, welcome and thank you for tuning in. Yeah, it's really weird. I can hear you well though.
Oh, okay. As long as you can hear me.
Yeah, that's the name of the game for Clubhouse. That's good. Mark said Tachi is undercover. She is part of the deep state. Okay. So so we do have a question here from Tejas. He's asking, what do we think of Chat GPT? And I know you had some things to talk about in that world where AI was concerned. You did make us aware. Was it Lenza last week?
Yeah, we talked about Lenza last week, and we actually demoed ChatGPT. We went through it with Terry or TJ.
Right.
So, and it's interesting because we just had this conversation last night here on Clubhouse in the tech world room, and this is what I had to say. Because we played around with it, I think it's very cool. I think that it has the ability to extend what you already have as a tool. But then there's the other side of it. You know, there's always another side. I want to take things at face value, but with this, I simply can't, because there are so many people that, number one, they're already purporting to be more knowledgeable in things than they already are. So there have been people who have written entire articles with ChatGPT, and it doesn't sound other than, you know, a human voice. So they may not be as knowledgeable as they are purporting themselves to be. And so there could be a lot of fraudulent activity happening because of that. And then number two, as a professor, I was looking at it from the standpoint of, we already have a problem with plagiarism,
right?
You know, in some cases, because students really, even how many times you explain it, students don't seem to know what plagiarism is. Never mind, they should have learned this in K through 12. They get to college and they still don't seem to know. So there are people who will probably write entire papers, and not even just papers, entire theses and dissertations using this AI technology because they think it's going to be an easy way to do it. And then, you know, we already have this whole thing with certain generations, as we get on in generations, not wanting to do certain things that other generations did, which I agree with, but that also means that because they don't do them, they're not as prepared. And so this may be a workaround or a cheat. But believe me, if you are going to medical school, you damn well better know how to do what you're doing. And I see room for fraudulent behavior because of this on the part of people in general, but in particular with students. So that's what I said last night.
Right. And Tejas, I hope that answered your question as to what is anybody else have a view about AI right now? Because I'm thinking, okay, let me see if I can do this to see if this tech is working like it was supposed to.
As you're doing that, I will let me add that I am completely for AI. I see the promise in what it can bring. I see there's so much that can be done with AI. But with every new technology, there are always bad actors or people who will use it for wrong purposes. We can't control that, but
correct. And we've talked about this with the robots. We talked about it with just about every new tech that comes out. There are the people who use it for good and those who use it for not so good. And I think it's the technology is a tool, and it follows the person who's using the tool. like whether the money is, you can do a lot of things with money, but
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It's but at the end, AI, is machine learning, and basically that just means that it learns from its mistakes. It actually gets, in quotes, smarter. But at its core, we still need human intervention, human interference, human interaction with all of
right,
that. So you can't just leave it to its own devices. And to be honest, even though I do see where, for example, students could misuse that, an in tune professor is going to know the voice of their students and going to know, now that's not how the hell you write. I know what you did the other day. I know how you speak in class. You didn't write that. So
right,
I can tell right away. We already have tools like turnitin.com where you can turn in entire papers and it will pull up the sources
right,
where the students got these from. So we already have access to that. The thing with AI is there's nothing out there that detects this type of thing, right? So that's where it's dangerous. But if you're in tune with what your students are doing, you can, whether it's K through 12 or college or university, you can tell this is not something they did. And you could also, that's also a call to stop just relying on written work for students to prove their aptitude. So this is
right,
a call to actually have, you have to get involved now. You actually have to do something. So.
right. And when I was, what was I doing? I was looking for something, and I was writing. I needed to write a headline or a blog, some verbiage for something I was doing, some copy. And so, there's Copy AI, there's Word Hero, there's all these different things. And I believe what they do is just kind of go through the web and pull together things from different places based on whatever your subject matter is, and they mash it together. And then you still have to go clean that up. You can't just leave it the way they said it. It's
Exactly.
and I was like, oh, it does make your life easier though.
Yeah, it does. I have no problem with any of these things. I think that's why I wanted to make clear that I am for something like this. I think it is a tool, and most people will use it as a tool and not to defraud and not to act like they know more than they actually do. So I think it's a great tool. But even with what they're able to do, how we put in a search and it searched for the things that we put in.
Right,
I
right,
think that even then, a prudent person does their own research, and you don't just rely on one source. That's the thing. Like even when you are doing news or you're quoting something, you don't just rely on one source to make an informed decision. You need to go and find agreement among sources. So even if Chat GPT tells you, or GPT, tells you that this is what it is, you go and figure it out and find it for yourself. So
right,
you have to find agreement amongst sources. So there's some work to be done, but it's a great tool, I think.
right, right. So would you like to go now, Dr. Tachi? Because this is a different kind of morning here. Because
It is. Since I'm already talking.
Yay.
I might as well.
And I'm like, the two of us are here, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do this.
Let's do it. Hey, Soul of a Man, how are you? Welcome. And I know that Francine already welcomed you, but I did not, so I'm welcoming you. This is kind of like sort of what we talked about on Media Scope. We had our last show of the year. Last week was the last full show, but I did a show on Instagram this past week, and that's it until February. So get your fill of it right now. And for those of you who don't know, Media Scope is a show where I talk about media, tech, and pop culture, and I usually bring some of the media things I talked about full circle to here. So there are a couple of things that are happening that I really am interested in talking about. Namely, let's start with Netflix. I always have to say something about Netflix. So let's start with Harry and Meghan, shall we? Have you watched that yet? anybody watched Harry and Meghan yet?
I have not. I saw it and I said, okay, there's certain shows that you set for, I'm going to do that at a certain time. I haven't seen that yet. Anybody in the chat over here on Netflix, have you all seen Harry and Meghan yet?
It's interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested to know who has seen it, and if you want to put in the chat, Soul of a Man, whether or not you've seen it, or are even interested, if you even give it that 2 downs about it, because there are some people who are just not interested in watching it. I don't know that I was that interested in watching it. However, people have been approaching me with, well, what did you think? I'd like to have a discussion if you're up for it. So I'm like, okay, I guess I have to watch it now from the perspective of a media person. So this is the important thing to note about it. There are people, despite people who are not interested, people are looking for this, especially in the UK, because, we talked about their beloved monarchy. And they have become, or Harry and Meghan, it has become Netflix's biggest documentary debut ever.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm not really surprised, because audiences are clamoring for this type of thing. I think we have a need to know about notable people and celebrities. So when things come out like this, especially a monarchy that had been so kind of reserved and closed for so long, and then as people started marrying into the monarchy that had a little more, dynamic.
Okay.
We started to find out more bits and pieces. So, we weren't expecting anything when Kate, who married, what's his name? The other son.
William,
yes. Married Prince William. We already knew that she was going to fall in line. There wasn't going to be Wahala or too much of upset. But not when we have this woman, Meghan. We knew that there was going to be not falling in line, to be honest. So people are interested. So the first 3 episodes are already out. I premiered last week, and they dropped another one, I believe, was it yesterday? So there are 4 episodes out now. The first 3, though, premiered to 81.55 million hours viewed.
Million hours?
Yes, million hours.
Not million people watch, million hours viewed. Wow.
And even if it was 81.55 million people, that's more than watches average shows, to be honest. So Netflix is, I'm sure, quite pleased with this one. And it debuted December 8th, so it's been out for just over a week now. And again, holds the title of the most hours viewed across any Netflix documentary title in a premiere week. And it also debuted at number 2 on Netflix's English language TV charts, and it appears in the top 10 in 85 countries.
Wow.
This is big. So volume 2 hit yesterday, as I said, of the streamer. And it's still dominating, even as of yesterday, it's still dominating Netflix's charts. Very interesting. Indeed. Let me talk about what else is happening on with Netflix.
Let me give you a couple of comments here from Mark. He says, not interested in the Royals. I did enjoy the previous, not current season of The Crown, but I will not watch this. And then Phoenix, Mr. Carlos Phoenix, says the Queen has it on loop.
I'm sure it does. Here's the thing. You all know, I don't have to say again how I feel about the royal family. Anybody who comes from a country that was dominated by another country for years, unfairly and unjustly, I don't really have anything good to say about that. That doesn't mean, I have family members that live in England, etc. That doesn't mean that I, despise England per se, but I will say this, that they, even in modern times, sit idly by while some of this colonialistic colonizer behavior still goes on. So I really don't give 2 damns about it. So I'm interested to see if, I'm sure what Harry and Meghan have to say lines up with the colonialistic thoughts of the people don't change their stripes overnight. and there was no apologies ever for any of this. So I really don't have too much good to say about it. So whatever. But there are people. It's interesting. I looked this morning on social media, and there was somebody who, very popular social media person who has podcast and said that she was going to talk about this, and was, I guess, disappointed in Harry and Meghan talking about this because it felt like she was protecting the royal family. I was like, oh, I'm surprised at you, but I needed not to look at the comments
from
and that's what I never do. So I looked at the comments, and people were like surprised at her for not being in support of Harry and Meghan and what they were saying. And I was quite surprised as well, albeit I have not seen it yet, but I know what that monarchy is capable of. So it wouldn't surprise me if everything that they say, once I watch it, aligns with what I already know about them. So yeah, I'm with Mark. I'm not interested in them. And that was another reason for this. Not interested at all. So, but here we go. Some more stuff from Netflix. Wednesday. Have you all watched Wednesday at all?
I did.
Okay, what did you think?
I thought it was really interesting because Tim Burton, his little quirky ideas on stories. It was a really good story, a little weird that we can expect from him anyway. But I kind of enjoyed it because I watched the whole thing. Just through,
Yeah. Well, you weren't the only one that enjoyed it, because for the week of December 5th through the 11th, this series, by the way, who Jenny Ortega stars in, added another 269.67 million hours viewed, and it was #1 in 90 countries.
Wow.
And all you have to do is take a look at social media. Do you know that part where she's at a school dance and she does the dance?
Yes, that was weird, but yeah.
The weird dance, but it was weird enough and interesting enough that so many people on TikTok, so many people on Instagram are copying the dance. So they've like kind of stitched it where she's doing it and they're copying
yes.
At the same time. So it's huge. It is a cultural phenomenon. It's not a good dance as a dancer.
No.
It's not a good dance, but
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't expecting the Moscow Ballet from her, from the Wednesday Addams. But interesting indeed. So here's the thing. It has now crossed, Wednesday has crossed 1 billion hours viewed since it was released on November 23rd, becoming only the third series to cross that milestone in the first 28 days on Netflix. It goes behind Squid Game and behind Stranger Things 4.
Wow. Now, because see, if you came up and surpassed Stranger Things, that's major.
That's huge. But Netflix needs more of this.
Mm-hmm.
They need more of these type of juggernaut series, and they need to keep with the binge dropping and doing it so that it can be all binged, or at least in part, because people want more. And the next story I'm going to talk about actually kind of demonstrates why. So moving on with Netflix, folks. Netflix had, remember, they have now launched an ad-supported tier. For $6.99, you get to watch Netflix with ads. Okay, we know this. But they have missed early ad delivery targets, and they've actually had to give some money back to advertisers.
Wow.
And that's because they don't have enough users signed up yet to meet their ambitious sales goals. Because remember, they came on, they're like, oh, yeah, we're gonna. And this is why they have a tall order, because they charge more for their ads than other people. They charge an exorbitant amount. I think it was like $65 per CPM, which is
a lot.
Cost per 1,000, right?
Yes.
Cost per 1,000 viewers, or cost per mille, I think is the actual Latin term. So they're charging $65 when the average is like 30 or 35. okay, for streaming. They're charging $65. So if you're charging $65, you darn well better deliver, okay?
Yeah.
And this was part of the thing, but they have not been able to deliver yet. So they launched this on November 3rd. So what they did is they made a quote pay on delivery arrangements with advertisers, right? So they're promising to deliver. So they're this required them to return the money for guaranteed campaign ad inventory. But the inventory is the people. They don't have enough eyes to look at this. So they're promising the sun, the moon, and the stars, but you don't have enough users yet. So I don't know I'm just convinced they did not do enough. And I think part of the thing is that, if I'm not mistaken, you don't have full access to everything at the $6.99 mark.
That is true. You do not get to see their whole library. Now, it seems to me that they should have let the people who were piggybacking on everybody else's account, you still would have had eyes.
You think? Where's your Messiah now? That's what I'm saying. I think what they should have done, like you said, is absolutely to wait and see. When you knew you were launching this new tier, wait and see. And maybe the fact that people were sharing accounts was not going to be such a terrible thing, because we know people do it anyway. They do that with everything.
Right.
So what they've tried to do is because, and they did that because they need to make money, and they know they need to make money. But I don't think that was the way to make money. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this. So
they could have waited. I agree. They should have waited a little bit. It's not my company, so.
At all. So let me tell you how much they've delivered. Netflix has only delivered 80% of the expected audience, or their projected audience.
Wow.
So an unnamed ad agency executive told Next TV they can't deliver. They don't have enough inventory to deliver. So they're literally giving the money back. Their stock, too, is down 9% in midday trading on the NASDAQ following the report in Digiday. And Netflix, of course, has not commented yet, of course. So as I said, they're seeking a price that's higher, $65 per 1,000 impressions, or CPM. So even though they have recent shortfall, they're still commanding a CPM price of around $55, because advertisers are believing that they're going to find ad momentum next year. And that could very well be true. You launch at the end of the year. What's going on at the end of the year? You launched in November, which is holiday time.
Right.
People are spending money on other things. So perhaps the launch was ill-timed as well. If you launched in the summer, maybe that would have gone. If you launched just after the summer, maybe that would have worked. If you had launched early next year after the holiday, maybe that would have worked. But you were in such a hurry for money that you said, okay, because they were supposed to launch the ad-supported tier next year, if you remember.
Right.
Supposed to be next year, and then they fast forwarded it or backtracked it and say, no, we're doing it in November. That was a rash decision, if you ask me, because to launch anything in the midst of a holiday when people are spending money on other things and their sites are on other things and not spending money with you, you probably are not going to get new subscribers. So, I don't know. I am not part of their company. I don't know what the thought process or the strategy is. I'm just looking as an outsider saying, this probably could have been better timed.
Right, because so you have two shows that did very well, that had a lot of eyes on, but it sounds like they could not capitalize on that. The advertisers did not get
exactly. And then
that.
we have to look and see I don't know the full extent of everything that's available in the ad-supported tier. So if it's missing some key components that would cause people to stick around, to become the eyes advertisers want, that could be part of the problem. So you're trying to make money, but you are also not giving people access to things. And my thing is The point of having advertising is so that you don't really have to worry about subscriptions. So
Right.
now I have to watch ads and I'm paying? Oh, come on.
Right. And I think that was the thing, because Disney, I think, just raised their price on their bundle. Okay. And I think I don't know if they're going to do ad supported.
Yes,
They are.
at Disney Plus has about their price is
$6.99 or
$30.
$7.99.
Yeah. No, it's $7.99, I believe, but $40 per CPM for their advertising too,
Mm-hmm.
for advertisers.
Okay. And I have Disney Plus, and because I can get the sports and I can get Hulu as well, so you get all three of them, which, okay, you might need all three of them to come up with the content that you want. Just saying, because Disney by itself, okay, you can only watch so much of the Disney library.
Yeah. I was never drawn to Disney Plus in the first place because there was nothing that I really wanted to watch. Now, granted, The Mandalorian is fantastic.
Yes.
I watched it while I had, the free trial.
Yes.
But I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to wean myself off of this because I'm not paying for Disney Plus.
And they do come back with some stuff like Boba Fett and some other little stories that they've done. I'm like, okay, but those are few and far between. And then then Marvel comes back with their little series, but they need to step it up a little bit to keep us over there, because now and then so you can go over to Hulu and then watch some different things. You know what I mean? Because they needed to do that whole bundle thing because they did not have enough in the Disney vault by itself.
Exactly.
But Netflix can't do that.
No, Netflix can't. And this we also have to remember that Netflix has an awful lot of properties that are not their own.
Correct.
But they saw this early on, and that was the whole reason for them putting a whole bunch of money into original programming, because they saw, they had the signs that the streaming revolution was going to go far beyond them, and that other people were going to want to stream and probably want their stuff back so that they could stream it on their own networks, streaming services. So they saw this early and they started to do this, but then, you have to have the money to be able to do things, to be able to put into original programming. And you have to have your finger on the pulse with things that people are going to want to watch. So, interesting.
I still have not watched Squid Games. I just haven't.
No, I refuse. I
didn't. I was like, yeah, whatever. And there's some of the movies that, Netflix has on there. You have to okay, let me read through this. I put it in my watch list and I said, let me get back to it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, there's some. I've actually watched some. There was an animated movie. I can't remember the name of it. That was really good. That I watched. It was Jessica Williams from Two Dope Queens, the podcast of the show. She and also was a writer for The Daily Show. She voices one of the main characters. So it was really good. Oh, it was Kenya Barris's.
Oh, okay.
So Kenya Barris's, and it's really well written and really nicely done. I enjoyed that. But so you find some things on there, but they've got to have a more consistent. And and it's not fair, because when we look at Netflix, we don't give this same argument to the networks, do we? You've got to have more consistent stuff or we won't watch, right?
Yeah.
We do this with the network, albeit the network television is free for the most part. And then, if you're paying for cable, you're paying for that. But we don't levy the same argument at them. But I think the reason we do it with the streamers is because we're paying you. And if I want to pay you every month, you as a single entity, I have to have a reason to do that. So they have a taller order than network television does, than cable television does.
Right. Got a comment here from Mark. He says Squid Games was good. If you want added comedy, watch the dub version. He said it's hilarious.
No, I don't doubt that it's well done. It's a reason that they won all these awards, and I know it is well done. It's the premise for me. I'm not wanting to watch people get killed in childhood games. That's not something I want people dragged off.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I want to go down that dark alley. I was just like, okay.
Exactly. No, I'm not trying to go down that alley, but I know it is well done, and for people who are into it, definitely check that out. So yeah, just a few more things because I know that we are coming up quickly on the 12 o'clock hour.
Okay.
So, okay, now this is interesting, and I am going to do a Be More Her about this today, so you all can look for that video and my commentary after after that. So, I don't know if you know Glorilla. So, Glorilla is a celebrity. I believe she is a rapper.
I don't know. I can look it up, but go ahead.
Yes. Well, so I don't know what she does, which shows I don't know very much about her, and I probably should have looked up to see what she does. But I think I'm almost 99% sure that she's a rapper.
She is.
That's what I knew. I knew it. So that 1% of doubt was what caused me to, stand back. So according to Complex, and Complex is like a pop culture magazine. It's like sneaker culture, music, and that type of thing. So I'm into that. So I read Complex. So first of all, I saw the video. You can see the video on Instagram. There is a job opening she had for a personal assistant job. Okay, so she did a post. It was a carousel post where she posted the personal assistant job. Okay, and the job description. But then she comes on after in a couple of videos after in that carousel, discusses it, and I'm like, oh, you should have just let the job description stand for itself and not you talk about it because you're not. I wouldn't want to work for her, but so maybe somebody would. So here's the thing. The job pays $550 a week in salary for this personal assistant job. Now let's picture this. So $550 a week is, just over, what is that, $2,000 a month?
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you are living at home, maybe you are a recent graduate, maybe you are, in a position to be able to do that, and you're looking to break into the music industry, maybe that could be something you could do. But if you are really looking at this as a job to support people and yourself, that's not going to be enough. At all, because we already know how much things cost, right? In terms of housing, etc. Now, this is what she said. In the thing, she was like, in very colorful language, like some of you all, 550, she said it needs to be lower. She was like, no, I'm just kidding. But
she wasn't kidding.
She wasn't kidding. She was like, we pay, I'm paying for all of your flights because, you're traveling with me and whatever, and all of that type of thing. So you think I'm going to pay you that and pay for your flights? No. My thing is like, I'm sorry. Any other employer, if you are required to travel, it is not on your own dime. That is the company. Glorilla, you are the company, so you need to pay for the flight. That's a whatever. You thought the person who was working was going to pay on a $550 a week salary out of their
and get on a plane?
Thank you. What were they going to fly? Extreme Spirit Airlines? No. No.
I'm sorry, because you just said Spirit Airlines. Oh my God.
And not even just Spirit, Extreme Spirit, because there's no other way you can afford to fly to a place. And then my thing is, again, if your job requires you to travel, which this does, your job should pay for it because there was a requirement of the job. I don't know anybody who's going to pay for their own flights. And, that's another argument.
So I'm looking at her page over here on Wikipedia. She's 23. So she need to have a business manager handle this stuff for her, because
Exactly.
you,
Because she's speaking like an uninformed 23-year-old, and
Right.
that is not. I know some 23-year-olds that are brilliant, but she does not appear to be one of them, because she shouldn't have even gotten on social media talking about that. Let a business manager handle that end of it. So she's then, of course, she got dragged for this, and she addressed it. Definitely, because some people have said the amount, like they were like $550, which I was like that as well. So the expected duties, let me tell you, are managing her calendar, organizing meals, accompanying her on travel, and other typical, responsibilities for that. So
okay, but that wasn't spelled out. A typical, what is typical responsibilities for an assistant?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but the actual job description is on her social media. That first page, it's there. She actually said this. She said, first of all, your flights get paid for, your flights and your travel. If you want higher pay, then pay for your own flights and your own travel, and see how much them $500 flight tickets be. I take flights every day. Exactly the reason why you need to pay for it. If you want somebody to accompany you, they don't do that on their own dime. Why would I do that? So here's the thing. I think this is really interesting. Here's the thing with that. There were also, so of course, I scrolled to look at some comments. People were none too pleased with it. But there was one from Isaac Hayes Jr. and Isaac Hayes III is the son of Isaac Hayes, the singer, right?
Yes.
And he actually is the founder of an app called Fanbase. He's the founder of Fanbase.
Yes.
So he chimed in on it. I was like, oh, what does Isaac have to say about this? So Isaac, said that you all are missing, 99% of you are missing the point. This could be an excellent opportunity for somebody who wants to get into the music industry, that you all are making it all about money, and it's not always about money. Some people agreed with him, but then other people were like, shut up, be quiet, basically. Because I think, and then one person said, okay, boomer. Now, he's not a boomer. But, it's that sentiment of, okay, you don't know. Because to me, it is tone deaf. When the average person, $2,000 is not enough for you to live and to have an apartment of your own, and to also pay for other expenses, especially, if you have gone to school and you're now paying back student loans. That's not going to be enough. So it seemed a bit tone deaf. While, yes, I do agree that for the right person, it could be an opportunity. But from hearing her and what she's saying, I don't know, A, when you're going to have time to do the networking he was talking about. B, if she's even the type of person that is about putting people on to these types of opportunities. From her demeanor, it didn't seem like it.
Okay, but she's 23. She's not calling that type of shot. There's still people working in the background making stuff happen. You understand what I mean?
Exactly. And they're not worried about you trying to break into the industry. They're trying to get her gigs. They're not looking at you. So it could be an opportunity to network, but when do you have time for that? Because your primary job is to be her assistant. And I don't know her, but it seems like she could be a tool.
Mark has a comment. He says, why doesn't she just label it as an intern position, in quotes? That is the traditional approach to slave labor in today's world.
Exactly. No, you're right. You are so right. But this is why they're starting, like, schools have started to get smarter. As someone who's run internship programs myself at universities, we're like, all right, they can't just go and just be your assistant. They have to be learning something. So there has to be a job description given that, of course, we know there's going to be some level of going to fetch things and doing things that they're not going to do themselves. But there has to be a clear plan for what the hell you're going to learn when you are on these internships. So, everybody started to wise up. So for, an internship, this wouldn't be bad for a paid internship, see what a student would be learning from this beyond being somebody's assistant. There has to be a clear plan for what you're going to learn. So I would be for this if it was an internship program. They were going to get credit on top of the 550, because this is not a bad salary if you are in school and an intern. But this also kind of precludes things like extreme travel, etc., because internship programs are only really supposed to be between 10 and 20 hours per week. It's part-time. This seems like a little more full-time thing. So she needs to work that out. She needs not work on it, and she needs not to speak on it until she's sure of what it's supposed to be. So if you're getting dragged, it's rightfully so.
I think she needs to have a person, a business manager, who handles that. Do you stop doing your own stuff? Just let somebody else do that, or maybe the business manager is only getting $550.
Exactly. You know, and here's the thing: even she's still kind of newish in the game. I don't know that she's really making money like that yet. Now, she does have the difference between rappers of old and rappers now is back in the day, people who were rappers, they didn't get brand deals. They were not influencers. They didn't have the opportunities for brand partnerships and sponsorships. They were more so getting exploited, and their main money was coming from record companies and touring, right?
Yes.
They were still being fleeced. So now the rap game is different. Hip hop is different. So you have people that, you know, are doing things, creating their own lines, especially with, I saw that I think she had some partnership with some makeup brands, you know, creating their own lines of makeup, doing specialty things. So, you know, being paid for posts. So the influencer money is real. And so they're making way more money, but I don't know that she's making
enough to
bank.
enough to hire someone else, because that's a whole, I'm gonna say dynamic. I like that word better than volatile. That's different because it fluctuates. She's only been doing this since 2021? She just came on the scene. I'm like, okay, how much money do you have? Is it managed well? Is it saved? Do you have like a budget for all of that? So what is the person getting into who's where? I would like to see the financials on the company.
Exactly. And this is where you get into that old saying that a person who represents his or her or themselves as a fool for a lawyer, bingo, here you are.
Right.
She's representing herself on the business and she has a fool for a client. So
yeah, and we don't know her, but it's just the evidence is showing that there's some things lacking.
No, absolutely. And this does not mean that she's not a good person, that she doesn't do things well, that she doesn't have some level of sense. But this move is erasing that. And so the whole thing is the only thing the public has is the public face you show them. So I'm not going to sit here and postulate about you're probably good, because what you've shown me is otherwise. What you have shown me is otherwise. And when you're that young, cannot afford to make mistakes like that. So, you know, I'm not even going to give her a pass for this. If you call yourself a business person and in the industry, you need to conduct yourself as such. And that means not dragging people into your $550 a week mess. Yeah. So that's it. We're at 12, so I'm going to stop there with those stories.
Well, I got a couple of things from TJ, and I'm just going to run through them because, you know, TJ is doing the social media stuff. She sent me her notes, and she says Instagram launches its Be Real clone, Candid Stories. To me, they should have just called it Candid and not Candid Stories, but okay. The app also introduces a new notes feature and group profiles. Meta introduces Candid Stories, a new feature with Instagram stories that recreates Be Real's signature once-a-day selfies. The feature will be testing in South Africa to start, according to a company spokesperson. Be Real, which originally launched in 2019, has gained a steady following over the last year, particularly among teens and Gen Z users. The app markets itself as a more authentic alternative to mainstream social media platforms, since it only allows once daily posting. It only allows once daily posting and has limited ways for users to interact with one another. Like Be Real, Instagram's Candid will prompt users once a day to share a selfie, and users will only be able to see their friends' candids once they have uploaded their own. Candid selfies, like Be Real post, will snap a photo with both a device front and rear facing cameras simultaneously. Also, the app is also introducing a new notes feature, which allows users to append a 60-character status update to their profile in Instagram's inbox. Instagram is also introducing a few other features geared towards getting users to interact in smaller groups. Group profiles will allow groups of friends to create shared profiles with multiple contributors. Likewise, the app is testing collaborative collections so multiple people can share posts to the same space in the app. Thoughts or insights? I'm like, does anybody use? I don't use Be Real. I have it, but whatever.
I have it, and it's annoying as hell because they keep notifying you to do your Be Real. I don't feel like it. I have to have something that's for me. I'm already on social media enough anyway. I'm not going to let you put me on the hamster wheel of, the candid in the moment. Who cares? I mean, maybe some people care. I don't.
Yes.
So, I'm probably not going to use that feature because I don't see value in it. It doesn't mean it's not valuable for some people, but I don't see value in it. I think the thing is, we curate our lives anyway. So, the thing about more authenticity and on social media, that's what real life is for.
Right. So
social experiences are for you to curate what you want people to see, what you want to share of yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have to have something for you.
right. And then when you were taking the picture and posting it, you can nope, don't like it, take it down, and not take it down, but retake. Okay, so retake is not being real, right?
Exactly. You're curating that too. So what's the point?
So you might as well just use it, just do what you normally do. Oh, I saw a squirrel, thought you would be interested. And now if you can do that with the front and back camera, I would like that, but to use it when I want to, not just for a candid story or for Be Real.
I think it's the thing of the technology can do that rather than the actual utility of it. Oh, you can take something with the front and back camera at the same time rather than it actually being useful.
Right. I would rather do the front. I would use the front and back camera because you can see you know what I'm saying? I would use that. But anyway, for a different purpose, not for Be Real. YouTube will send a notification to users if their comment is abusive. YouTube is introducing a new feature that will more aggressively nudge such individuals of their abusive comments and take broader actions. YouTube says it will send a notification to people whose abusive comments have been removed for violating the platform's rules. If, despite receiving the notification, a user continues to post abusive comments, the service will ban them from posting any more comments for 24 hours. That's nice. At the moment, the hateful comment detection is available only for English language comments, but the streaming service aims to include more languages in the future. Our goal is to both protect creators from users trying to negatively impact the community via comments, as well as offer more transparency to users who may have had comments removed to policy violations, and hopefully help them understand our community guidelines, the company said. Again, I think they're being really nice. If a user thinks their comment has been wrongfully removed, they can share their feedback. The company, however, didn't say if it will restore the comments after looking at the feedback. So anyway, shouldn't you just okay, we're expecting people to behave like a human.
Exactly. We can't have expectations for folks sometimes.
So, like, we got some comments of the sexual nature that came on a program. And in order for them to even put that comment up, they had to subscribe to our channel and then put that comment in there. They are going to extremes. Those people, they don't get a second chance. You don't get a 24-hour timeout. You're not coming back in here.
Exactly.
YouTube tests new emoji reactions within live streams. The YouTube's adding another response option within the live stream with its new test of emoji reactions during a broadcast. As per YouTube, we're starting to test a new way to react to what's happening on live streams. If you're in this experiment, you'll see options to react on a stream with one of 5 emoji reactions. Your reactions are anonymous, and other viewers in the chat won't be able to see who used what reactions. Reactions in live is yet another means to provide a simple indicator of interest without having to leave a full comment, and it could help YouTube increase engagement and response within streams. YouTube says that it's testing the new live reactions with a limited number of channels to begin.
Interesting.
Very. Okay, Twitter. Ready? Seatbelts on? Twitter's new verification system has blue and gold check marks. Twitter is launching a modified version of its verification systems, which includes gold check marks for businesses and unique labels for official accounts. The new system aims to correct problems that surfaced during the initial rollout of Twitter's CEO Elon Musk's Blue Verified program, which allowed anyone to purchase a blue check mark for an $8 monthly subscription. Okay, so several safeguards are in place to stop people from abusing the blue check mark to impersonate other accounts. In addition to introducing a different color check mark for business accounts, there are new criteria users need to meet before receiving a verified badge. Twitter Verified, blue check mark. Twitter is bringing back its Blue Verified subscription program at the original cost of the $8 per month if you subscribe through a web browser. Subscribing via Twitter's iOS app will cost an additional $3 per month, which Musk says is due to Apple's commission on in-app purchases. Apple was smart, but okay. Twitter Verified gold check mark. Twitter now uses gold check marks to differentiate between verified businesses and verified individuals. Businesses previously verified through Twitter's old system will automatically have their blue checks converted to gold. Twitter Verified official labels, along with a blue or gold check mark. Twitter is applying an official label to the following types of accounts: government, political organizations such as parties, commercial companies and business partners, major brands, media outlets, and publishers. Oh, you can get a check, an official label, Dr. Tachi, and other public figures.
This is interesting. The whole Lucky Charms rainbow of different checks.
And I'm like, okay, so we got to pay for them now too? Okay, fine. I'm not paying for a check. And see,
it's not that important to me. You know,
right.
I do understand if you're a public figure, you need some way to discern, you know, distinguish yourself from other people who would pretend to be you. I do get that. But, you know, this quest for the blue check, it's a lot. So I just think this intensifies that quest.
Yeah. But people want to be validated, I guess. I'm like, I know who I am. I'm
right. But is it true validation if you can really pay for it?
Yeah, no. It's like buying followers.
Exactly. To me, that is a perfect example. Buying followers. You have them, but did you earn them?
Right. So, okay, last story. Hope you all can hear through the blowers. U.S. lawmakers call for a full ban of TikTok due to data tracking concerns. TikTok is being targeted by governors and U.S. lawmakers who say the Chinese-owned company is a cybersecurity risk. On Wednesday, the U.S. Senate unanimously approved a bill that would ban the widely popular social media app from devices issued by federal agencies. Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida is heading a bipartisan effort to ban TikTok outright. The proposed legislation would block and prohibit qualifying social media companies belonging to a country of concern: China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, and Venezuela. Officials and advocates of this kind of legislation are fearful of how a foreign-owned social media entity could influence American politics. TikTok has the capability to collect massive amounts of data on our citizens. Mark Berkman, CEO of the Organization for Social Media Safety, told NPR. Because it's owned by China, there is certainly the potential, and it's unclear whether this is happening currently, but there's certainly the ongoing potential that the data is shared by the Chinese government. Berkman said that foreign-owned technology also runs the risk of impacting our elections via propaganda and misinformation. TikTok has said that it stores U.S. user data within the U.S. and does not comply with Chinese government content moderation requirements. But in July, it acknowledged that non-U.S. employees did in fact have access to U.S. user data. So was that like double talk?
It's double talk.
Okay, so I'm sure TJ is going to cover this on Tuesday because this is major. Well, she's been talking to us about this all the while, that if you're going to use TikTok, maybe you use it on a burner phone. And a burner phone, aka, is a phone that you don't normally do your business and stuff on. It's just a different phone. Because in the movies we hear burner phones for different reasons. But thoughts, Dr. Tachi? Because this is the last story.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I used to use it more and I was more of a watcher than I was a creator. But I've actually started to put content over there as well. But it's not a major part of my content strategy. For some reason, it's just not. So it's almost like an afterthought for me, because I'm like, all right, well, is it going to get the intended effect that I want? And what you want for people to do. I think that's what you have to consider with that. So it's not really a major part of my strategy. But in terms of security concerns and risks, I mean, of course, that is notwithstanding that there could potentially be a security risk. They can say any number of things that they're not doing, and they could very well be doing it. However, I think, why are we stopping there? Because Twitter and Facebook had a huge effect on the outcome of the 2016 election in the United States.
Right.
So we can't, point fingers at other, quote, outside bad actors and not look at what has happened with U.S.-owned social media. Whether you say those were outside people or not, that's still U.S.-owned social media.
Right.
So if that can be infiltrated to that extent, they're also not exempt from scrutiny for this.
Yeah, and that's why they probably had Facebook on the panel, you know what I mean, in front of a government committee. But they couldn't do too much because they were U.S. and they are bringing in a significant amount of money to the U.S. economy. So, you know what I mean? There's reasons why they didn't they got a slap on the wrist and they said, okay, don't do this anymore. But okay. And then, I didn't realize that there were some other countries on here as well. So, what we would tell you is this: don't share anything that you don't want people to know about.
Exactly. That is the operative thing, that there's no such thing as it disappears. Whatever you don't want people to know, don't make it public.
Right. Because if you don't put it out there, they can't get it. If you
Exactly.
you don't say it into your phone, you don't put it on, you don't have to put something out. You don't have to be real. You don't have to be candid.
Exactly.
You can just not say anything.
Exactly.
And this is your Tech Life Weekly for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the BizChicks family and community. We want to thank you, Carlos and Mark Ward, and everyone who stopped by to Tejas and Dr. Tachi. Thank you again. You can find Dr. Tachi on Mediascope. Look for her latest post on Be More coming up. Is that later today?
You probably today or tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm recording it today. Yeah.
Okay, so look for that. Look for us, and please subscribe and join the community so you can get notifications whenever things are coming up. You can also join the BizChicks community at bizchicks.net. And we just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. It is okay to make money in your business, and make sure to go to the front of your own line. We will be back on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.